So this stock might have finally hit the bottom. You guys might be wondering, how can we get into the best semiconductor and AI companies? I would encourage you guys to check out the second link down below. That's Stock Me, and we have a sale here for the holidays that I would encourage you to simply take a look at. Let's get into it. We're looking here at a stock that has really sold off consistently since what was its peak back in March. So it's sold off, as you see this consistent downtrend all the way to what was $119 a share. Guys, this is AMD. This is one of the big market share holders of semiconductor space, of GPUs, of data centers, which in an AI era where we're going to see those things play a really key role in the growth of the industry, they're sitting here at what is a 52-week low. And if we kind of look at the trend, there's a couple things that make this stock really stand out. First thing is that we have this consistent downtrend. And there's some really good news that I want to share with you guys. But before we get into it, I want to break down some of the technicals here. So you can see the downtrend. You can see that it's going very consistently, finding this lower and lower support. Now, it just found that support again back here at $119. We actually ended up buying some calls right here at $119, and we bought AMDL, which is the 2X that goes up 2% or down 2% every time AMD goes up or down 1%. So we bought some calls there for $12, which would mean it's going to get back to around $150. Now, let me kind of break this down on the technical side. First thing is RSI, the MACD right here, these indicators looking really oversold. We see that it's pushing up to the EMA. It potentially could get a little rejected. I mean, we wouldn't be surprised, but we've also seen it really bounce considerably. Now, the CEO, she's been the Time CEO of the year, on Time magazine. So that's one thing. But the actual news that stands out to me outside of this technicals and looking like it's bouncing, looking like it's starting to change direction here, is that they're supplying the GPUs, the semiconductors, essentially, for what is SpaceX and Starlink. So if you guys were familiar with Starlink, if you've seen some of the news that's come out, they've become quite a player in the internet connectivity space for basically the entire world. I mean, these Starlink satellites are allowing people to connect to the internet with their Starlink dish and do it from anywhere. And any companies that we've seen really partner or become involved with Starlink have really done really well. So there's two companies outside of AMD that had Starlink as their catalyst, and they started going parabolic. They started going straight up, like really great catalyst for most stocks. So you can see AMD chips are powering the newest Starlink satellites. And then when you get down to some of the images or the news, you can see some of our videos are here covering this on AMD. Now, the Versal chip is their new chip, their custom chip that they recently launched, and that is going inside of SpaceX's Starlink satellites. So there's some really good news. Now, we'll get into the financials, but one thing I want you guys to realize is that this is a catalyst in the news that has affected other companies very positively in the past. You know, for example, let's just take a look at T-Mobile stock. I don't know if you guys are aware, but T-Mobile was a stock that partnered with Starlink. And now when you're driving through, like I was just driving through California recently, through the Sierra Nevadas, and they put this little icon in the top right-hand corner where you have this option for connecting to satellite. And they're working on streamlining and optimizing the process for people to have internet anywhere from their phones. And you can see this partnership with Starlink happened in 2021. It was about October. This partnership was right around here. They started selling off even more down to $100 a share from what was 118 before recovering all the way up. Let's look at that percentage increase from after the Starlink partnership. Their stock went up 133% over under a 3-year period of time. So really great catalyst was that. The other stock that we just see do kind of the same thing was, if we go over to our quantum AI playlist or watch list that we're playing with, let's see Cooler stock. This is a stock that's up 15% today. They are soaring from 20 cents a share to now $3.30 a share. And part of the reason why, not the entire reason why, but part of the reason why is that they have partnered with SpaceX. And so they make some of the carbon composite, carbon fiber materials that help with thermal conductivity. And that plays a key role in some battery industries. We'll see them even work with possibly Rocket Lab, but they also partner, they have a contract with SpaceX to supply the batteries for the Starlink satellites as well. So you got that just indirect investment in Starlink. You can see that some of the percentage yield of being involved in these stocks, that's a 850% increase really since that news came out. So that's a massive difference. Now, on top of that, you could see that over here in AMD, the stock that we're actually looking at, you can see AMD is been down consistently. It's finding support, and now let's say that it gets up to what could be half of its previous high. I mean, that's a 40% increase. So that was part of the reason why we got into it. So the news and the technicals look good. The other thing we were looking at here was the AM. You could check out the financials. Let's just take a look at what that looks like. If we look at the financials here, you can see year over year, they're up 15% or 17% year over year in revenue. Net income's up 157%. Their earnings per share up 161% year over year. Net profit margins are up over 100%. I mean, these are all positive things. And we saw them beat their earnings even in September. They've consistently beat all their earnings in 2024. We saw them beat their earnings in September. And this is what happened, guys. Look, they beat their earnings and they continue to sell off. They've sold off since crushing earnings. So it's like their financials look great. Their news is fantastic. And then when we look at the chart, that's one way of looking at the downtrend. The other way of looking at it is here. Look at this uptrend, right? Rising support right here. See that support, and right here is a support. It broke a little bit right there. But I mean, if we really look at the trend for AMD, we're looking at pretty consistent gains that they've had. And you can identify the key levels. We've gone into the technicals in depth, but just to break down all three of those things of the financials, the technicals or the analysis, and being in the markets of not only AI, that they're building out their data centers and that they're providing the GPU chips for a lot of AI driven companies, but they're also in the space industry now. They're kind of working in that industry. So those things all paired together make AMD a really nice outlook for the coming months. So I got some calls that are expiring in March, and then we also have some positions here on AMDL, which is that 2x. And yeah, I mean, if we see it get back to half of what previous highs were, or even a quarter on AMDL, that would be 50%. Because up to previous highs would be over 200% gain on AMDL. And these are just some of, I think, with the risk and with the potential for profit, it makes a lot of sense to be considering AMD as one of the top tech companies here in 2025. Of course, we got Nvidia. Of course, we got Apple. You got Tesla. All these different companies you can look at. But when you look at some of the smaller growing companies, AMD is solid. We're also covering here on the channel, if you want to stay up to date, Applied Digital is one that we got into. They are building all the data centers. They are invested in by Nvidia, State Street, and others. And I actually bought them down here around $770 a share. You can see my history over here. And we bought 787, sold 873. And really, I think we made, $1,000, something like that, close to. And then you could see all the other quantum AI. We got Rigetti, which we've been covering on the channel, that's been crushing it. And then we got quantum computer companies that are working with, I mean, Rigetti is working with, for example, Microsoft and Amazon. And I think quantum computing is going to be a big piece. The whole AI space is going to be changed from that. We also are covering some other stocks in the space industry. So if that's you want to check out more about those things, again, there's that second link down below. And there's $100 off discount, guys, just from this video, just until the end of the year. If you want to check it out, it's that second link down below. And hopefully I earned your thumbs up. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.